on Common Ground in the Children's Prayer Chapel. And I think it's a great illustration of how Common Ground is an uncommon place for all of God's children, as we say. And I wanted to talk about how Common Ground came to be. The church purchased 93 acres. They actually were searching for something more reasonable, like 20 acres, and ended up being led to this space, 93 acres. And it was way more than they needed, but it seemed to be what God was offering to the church, and the church said yes. And pretty quickly, we're not a wealthy congregation, but in 3.5 years, they paid off almost a $500,000 debt, and really saw this campus in traditional way that most churches see. Hey, you know, one day we will move down to this campus, we'll build a big sanctuary out front, and yeah, it'll be a lot like our previous campus. And so there was a sign out front, and if you've lived here then, you might remember that it said future home of First United Methodist Church of Stanley. And when I came in 2009, that sign was starting to rot. And the plans of the church had kind of stalled. It takes a lot of money to make that happen. And it's hard to leave a sacred campus that you've been on that you've been at so long. So we started a series of conversations that were open to people in the church, but also people within the community. And we just started listening, like, what is God calling us to be as a church? And ultimately, we came away from a year-long journey with our district superintendent, Lynn Sarles, a year-long journey of discerning that our mission was to open our arms and embrace all God's children. This is the way Jesus lived and died and was raised, and so this would be the way his people, his body, would continue to live. And so we started asking ourselves, what does it mean to embody this posture of embrace here on Common Ground? And then it wasn't called the Common Ground, it was called the property. But what would it look like to embody, embrace here? And early on, the word Common Ground it captured us. We didn't know, we knew it was from God. It was like a red lettered word, but we didn't fully understand it. But the idea that this would be a space where Common Ground would happen, and where all God's children would find a welcome, an open door. And so we decided though we didn't fully understand what it meant to be Common Ground, we took down the old future home of First United Methodist Church sign, and we put up the sign that you see out front now, the Common Ground, a place for all God's children. And immediately, it was like the community understood what Common Ground was better than the church. And there were skid marks on the road, on Hickory Grove Road. In the grocery store, everybody was talking about, you know, have you heard? The Methodists are giving this campus to the community, right? It's a place for all God's children. And that's what we were trying to do. Like, one of the things we understood was, this is God's space. This isn't our space. And if it's God's space, it belongs to all of God's children. And so the way we would offer it to God is to offer it to everyone, to give this 93 acres away, to give it to the community. And we put signage up all around the town, not just out front with the big sign, but all around the town, all around the 93 acres, just to let people know you are welcome here. that God built this for you. And that enabled people to relax. And when people kind of relaxed and opened up and let down their guard, then that's when we started to hear breathtaking stories of how people were encountering God's Spirit here. And it was funny. We thought we were giving, this was before Harper Park, so we thought we were giving the town a park. And the town, the community, had to come to the church and say, Common Ground is holy ground. Like how strange is that, right? That the community shared good news with us. That this space is not common. It's incredible. It's holy. It's a thin place where heaven and earth mingle together. And people started to spread the word, and just more and more and more people have come here from all around the region and discovered it to be indeed holy ground. So we quickly discerned that there shouldn't be fences here. There shouldn't be any no trespassing signs. Everything we do here, like even this chapel doesn't have a door on it. Like everything we do here, we're trying to embody the posture of welcome and embrace. But don't take my word for it. Like, come experience Common Ground for yourself. And while you're here, share God's embrace with the people you meet. Because this place, like I said, is bigger than the United Methodist Church. Many congregations help us to minister and to serve the community on this space. So we invite you to help us, help us to share God's welcome here. So.